Hey folks, it's John with KGTropicals.com, bringing you another episode of Tank Talk Q&A, where we're answering your questions sent in to that email address right there or the phone number down below. The phone number is a whole lot more fun. You get to actually ask me your question and then I can answer it. It's much more fun that way. I'm not going to mess around with these episodes anymore. Let's get right into the first question.
Hi, John. My name is Robin Sullivan. I'm calling from St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada. I currently keep African cichlids, and I was curious, as of right now, when I do a 50% water change, I buff my water. The water coming out of my tap is 6.4 pH. Is it possible to just not buff it and let it rise naturally, or should I continue to buff my tanks as I'm changing them? Thank you, and I love your show. Have a great day. Bye.
All right. I think that might be the first caller from Canada. I'm not 100% sure, but other than Joey. But I haven't been able to get him on recording, so, you wouldn't even know that he's called. But when you say should you let it rise naturally, what I'm wondering if you mean is doing things to the tank to naturally make it rise, like using a different substrate, using different rocks and things like that. I'm thinking that that's what you meant, because as time goes on, pH actually drops. So I don't think you meant it that way, like your pH is just going to miraculously raise. I don't think you meant that. But yes, my recommendation to you would be to put things in the tank that is going to automatically make your pH raise, like substrates, like things like aragonite and lace rock and stuff like that, lava rock. These are all things that can increase your pH naturally, which is what I think you were talking about. And then you don't have to put those salts and all of that kind of stuff. Or if you're doing like Epsom salt, baking soda, whatever it is that you're doing, then you won't have to do that anymore. That's the way I do it. Now I'm fortunate in that I come out of the tap at 7.8, so I'm not as concerned about it as you are, but, you definitely need to be doing something with the pH coming out at 6.5. I would definitely, like I said, maybe change your substrate up and add some different rocks and stuff like that. And that'll definitely help. You don't have to mess with all those salts all the time. Okay. Next question.
Hey, John. It's, one of the big fans here. And I live in California. Now, I really do enjoy cichlids and all that, but my egg tumbler that I've made DIY has not seemed to be working. I would just like you to make another video on how you make your egg tumblers so I can go step by step. And one more question. I have this tank, a 45-gallon, and it's got quite a bit of imbunas in there. Now, I can't tell who's crossbreeding with who, but I would like to know how I could tell who's breeding with who. And one more final question is, how many fish can I have in one tank the size of a 45-gallon? Thank you, and I look forward for you to answer my question. Bye.
Isn't he cool? All right. I love when young people call the show. I think it's so cool. I'm not doing another video for you showing you how to make egg tumblers, but here's what I'll do. Bam! Right there. How about that? That is a link. Click that right there. It's going to open up a new window and it'll show you the video that I did on making egg tumblers. Follow that one step by step. You want to know how many fish you can put in your tank? Boom! How about that one right there? It's the magic of YouTube annotations. Watch that video right there. There's 2 of your questions answered right there. I'm not trying to blow it off. It's just, this is why I do it, is to be able to say to you, hey, watch this video and I think it'll answer your questions when people email me questions. Anyway, the question about, can I help you to determine what fish spawned with what to make your hybrid babies? That's one I don't have a video for. And there's really no way to do a video on that. Unfortunately, my friend, thank you for calling in from California. I'm not going to be able to answer that question because there really is no way of knowing. It's a fun question. Wouldn't it be cool if we could actually know who spawned with who and, produced these kind of babies? But you really don't know. The best thing that you can do is to give an educated guess by looking at the fry. They're probably going to need to be 2.5, 3 inches before you can do this, and just have fun taking a guess. Oh, they're kind of yellow, so it might be the yellow lab. Oh, there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you might be able to figure it out. That's as good as I'm going to be able to do for you, my friend. I wish I could help you out a little bit better, but watch those 2 videos, and at least you'll get your first 2 questions answered. Okay, next question comes from Kenneth Wall, a former customer of ours. Hey, John, keep up the great videos. I will, thank you. Most people have been asking fish-related questions, so I figured I would ask something different. If you could have 1 male and 1 female celebrity endorsement or spokesperson, who would that be? Thanks, Kenneth Wall. That's tricky. Female Ronda Rousey. That's it. Male, how about Corey Taylor from Slipknot? Jonathan Davis from Korn. How about Aaron Lewis from Stained? I'm trying to think of these angry, you know what I mean? Like angry, angst-ridden people. Chuck Liddell. How about that? Man, let me think. I think that's probably, I would really love all of those. And then I think, what would be even cooler than that would be Travis Pastrana. If you don't know who he is, watch anything on YouTube about the X Games. One of the most gifted individuals I've ever seen in my life. And that kid is just amazing. And I would listen to him talk all day long. So I'm going to go with those 4. I'm going to go with Corey Taylor, Jonathan Davis, Aaron Lewis, and Travis Pastrana, and Ronda Rousey. No brainer.
Hi, John. This is Tim Baps from Seattle, Washington. I have a new 125-gallon tank that is a newly cycled and ready for my cichlids. I currently have all of my 28 halves and peacocks in an old 125-gallon in my garage. The fish range in size from 3 to 7 inches. What is the best way to move these fish to the new tank in terms of stress on the newly cycled system and the new dominance issues that may arise in the new tank? Should I take the first 7 biggest and place them in the new tank, wait a while, and then put the next 7 biggest in and so on? Or should I start with the smallest and work my way up? Should I put more or less in at a time? Does it even matter? If it matters, how long should I wait in between the introduction of the new sets of fish? Any thoughts you have on this would be really appreciated. Love your videos and podcasts. It's a really fun to be able to participate in the hobby while being away from your tank. Thanks and have a great day.
I'm not really sure what happened at the end there. I don't know if his cell phone broke up or what, or if that was a Google issue. I don't know. But it's kind of interesting because Tim is a customer of ours. He just ordered. I'm waiting to send out his fish to him. I think I'm going to be sending them out in the next couple of days. He bought a red top Lawanda breeding group. Very excited. Okay, so you may be. I think you're looking for a John answer here. I don't think you're looking for a rule book answer because I don't always necessarily follow the rule books. But it sounds to me you're obviously a guy who knows what he's doing. And I'm not kissing your butt because you're a customer. I'm just, you want to know the best way to move these over here. You want to do it right. You're coming to me. I'm going to tell you, my opinion is I would put them all in at once. They're all in a tank together right now already. So I would take them all and put them in the new tank. If you know that the tank is fully cycled, you're somebody who knows what he's doing. So you will be able to react if something goes wrong. I would throw them all in the new tank and let them figure things out and keep an eye on things. Don't put them in there and then immediately take the old tank down. No, put them in there, leave your new tank running. And if something breaks bad, you have that opportunity to move the fish back in there. Really, the only things that could potentially happen would be that new load of 28 fish or whatever you said it was. That new load of 28 fish could spike things. And if it does, if you can't keep it under control, you can put them back in the old tank or something like that. But that's what I would do if it was me. I did that when I overhauled my 240. I moved all of the fish at once from one point to the next. And then when it was done, I moved them all from that point back to their 240. And there was never any issues. I don't even concern myself with aggression issues and all of that kind of stuff. I don't think it's going to do anything like that. They're all in the tank together. They're getting along fine. they're going to get along fine in the new tank, and they'll have fun exploring the new things and seeing all of the new tanks. So, but just keep an eye on things. Make sure that things don't spike too bad. All right. Last question.
Hello, John. This is Ken Diethofer from Loveland, Ohio. I have a quick question. I just recently changed over my tank from a gravel bottom to a sand bottom. I was wondering if you could give me some helpful hints or ideas on how to go about vacuuming the debris without losing my sand. I thought about buying a Marineland, one of Magnum 250s, so I could return the sand that's being sucked up from my vacuum back to my tank. If you have any ideas or a better way, please let me know. It'd be helpful.
Okay, and he did ask another question there, and it was kind of a long one. Sorry to cut you off there, but maybe I'm ignorant, but I'm not 100% sure what you mean when you're talking about buying I guess it was a power head or something to use to send the sand back. That's a new one to me. But if it would work, that's fine. If you're talking about, you're doing your siphoning into a bucket or into a trash can and the sand goes into that and you're going to use this power head to send it back, why not just dump out all of the water or get a really fine net, dump your bucket through that net, catching the sand in the net and just put the sand back in the tank. That's what I've done. I don't do that now. And the main reason is I'm kind of spoiled. And when Caribsea sent me the substrate for the 240, they sent me a bunch more than I needed. And it was my fault. I didn't do it on purpose. They asked me how much I needed. I asked them for a certain amount. They sent me that amount, but it turned out to be too much. So I have extra. So if I get to a point where it's really low, I can just throw some more in there. Not a big deal. So I'm kind of fortunate, in that regard. But if you don't want to lose any of the sand, I totally get it, because every time I do water changes, I lose some sand in mine. There's sand all over the parking lot of my shop because I always drain right out the front door. So it happens. And if you're going into a bucket, then that's actually a pretty foolproof way of keeping your sand, because like I said, dump out the water carefully, make sure it's all out. And then the last little bit, dump it through even a coffee strainer or something like that. You'll catch that last bit of sand and put it into your tank. Coffee strainer, that's a great idea right there. But I don't know how you're doing your water changes. If you're talking about a power head to send it back through, I don't like that idea. That doesn't sound right to me. One of the things is, if you're talking about your sand is going to accumulate at the bottom of your trash can or your bucket and you're going to use a power head to send it back, well, poop and nastiness and leftover food is going to settle at the bottom of the tank too, or the bottom of your trash can too. So you're going to be shooting that back up into there. I don't like that idea. Just pour the water out, however you're doing it, and then use the last little bit of water that you have in there with the sand, dump that through a coffee strainer, and there you go. You might need to take a big net and put a couple coffee strainers in there. The paper ones, there you go. That should help. I just thought of that. I'm a genius. I just thought of that on my own. So only a few questions today, folks, because I do want to keep these episodes a little bit shorter. So I want to thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to support our sponsors. They need it. I need it. It helps everybody. Everybody wins. So please support our sponsors. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.